Okay, that's me. Hi, everybody. First off, we'd like to acknowledge that we live and work on traditional First Nations territories in British Columbia, and we thank the many nations that have called this land home for thousands of years for allowing us to learn and work together on their land. So we're all coming together from all over the province today, hence the general acknowledgement. Yeah, anyway, my name is Jessie, and Colleen and I are going to be presenting today for you. What's next on the slides there? Oh, over to you, Colleen.
Okay, so I'd like to recognize and acknowledge the ITA for their generous funding of this initiative. So they are making possible these webinars as well as a new series of workshops and project ideas that will be posted on the projects.skillsready.ca website. And just a little bit about the foundation. Together, we are all working together to build the next generation of skilled worker. We did, as you know, kick off in 2012 and are just thrilled to continue doing some great work across the province. So I'll skip through that. Over to you, Jessie.
All right, thanks, Colleen. So this webinar for February, this is, I think, the second to last webinar that we're going to do in this series, but we're going to be discussing some tool basics and exploring tools of the trade. So many of the projects that we've uploaded so far are how-to instructions on how to build different things, like the concrete planters, the glass cups, the cedar and steel picnic table and stuff. But we have noticed that a lot of the teachers and instructors using the projects might not know how to use all the tools or might want resources for teaching their students how to use those tools. So we wanted to add some tools projects which give specific instructions on how to operate the tools used in all of those projects that we've already uploaded. Yeah, we want to give young people a choice. So for them to be able to try out these new tools to see if they like them and to discover that if they enjoy working with their hands, then trades and tech careers become more of an option for them. And in a way, especially in all of these projects, we want to make sure that we point out all the trades careers around us because they're everywhere. We want to make those connections and we want those links to give instructors and teachers the chance to explore that in a really hands-on way with students. So I'm going to be showing you some of these tools projects later and show you how we connect them to careers. Yeah, actually, maybe Colleen, can I do a share screen on my end now, and I can
Absolutely.
Thank you. See if I can get this going. Okay, so is it showing up there, Colleen?
Yeah, it sure is.
Okay, awesome. So this is our beautiful Skills Ready projects page, and one of the examples, I'm gonna go over these tools projects in a little bit, but one of the more recent projects that we've uploaded is this wooden loom. And this was an idea donated to us from Alex McKillop in Burnaby. Anyway, I just wanted to show you, I don't know if the little faces on your screen are covering this up, but we've got some exploring related trades careers within the project description. So any of these little hyperlinks here, if you were a teacher and you were going through this with your class, you could click on for example, the carpenter hyperlink there, and it would take you to the ITA youth site where you would get to explore what carpenters actually do. What kind of critical skills do you need for that? What kind of things do you learn? Who do you work for? All that kind of stuff. And at the bottom of each one of these pages, you have a builder's story. And we wanted to do that in real life and actually talk to you in real time and interview someone named Shayla here, who has generously offered to come and chit chat with us about her career. So I'll get back to the project website, but I want to introduce Shayla. And I don't know if how does it work with the screens? Can we highlight her and I while we're chit-chatting? So, thank you. Anyway, welcome Shayla, and happy birthday. I hope you're having a really good one. So Shayla, you're part of BCC WIT, the BC Centre for Women's in Trades. That's how we got in touch with you. But I guess what trade are you working in? Let's start there.
I'm working in joinery and cabinet making, which is like a sector of carpentry, but it's like architectural millwork more.
Okay. And when you when did you know you were interested in tools? Was that something that happened to you as a little kid, or did you find that later on in life?
I definitely found it on later in life, but ever since I was little, I'd always build things like out of cardboard using scissors and tape, like things I build giant things, but they would always just fall apart. And so it's been in the last like 4 years where I'm like, okay, I want my things to stop falling apart. And I've gotten interested in tools and materials and hardware. Yeah.
So how did you find that transition? You found a transition between cardboard and tape into the trades. Where did that happen within your story?
So I attended Emily Carr University of Art and Design, and I got a visual arts degree. And then in my last year of studying, I took on some bigger projects that required like actual construction and like seeking advice from carpenters and welders, and it just really sparked an interest. And when I graduated, I went straight into an apprenticeship and attended BCIT for joinery. And it's just, the ball has been rolling since then, and I just want to learn more and more. So, yeah.
Well, I'm really curious what you were making at Emily Carr that you needed all these extra skills to build. What, it was a giant sculpture or something? What were you doing?
Yeah, well, a lot of the things I made, I was actually sewing quite a bit. So I would create blueprints and sew costumes and soft sculptures. But this one piece specifically was for the Powell Street Festival, and I created this interactive giant calligraphy board. So like a Buddha board, essentially, where you would draw on it. But it was a deck, and it was 12 feet long and 10 feet tall by like 10 feet, the depth of it. So people would step onto it. So there was 3 stairs you get on, and then I constructed these giant calligraphy brushes that were 6 feet tall out of bamboo and horsehair, like traditional materials. And people would actually like dip it in water and use it as a board. So I used linoleum and put a paint on it that would go clear. Anyways, like you could actually paint on it. But yeah, I built a deck essentially.
Fun. Really cool.
Yeah. So
I wish that I'd been able to see that. That sounds really fun.
I can forward you some pictures.
Yeah, please. So how does that, so after that you went straight to BCIT and you learned carpentry there, and then where are you at with your career now? What are you busy working at?
So I'm still doing my apprenticeship. I'm going for my Red Seal in joinery. I completed my year 2 a few months ago. So I'm still working at the same wood shop. We're an architectural millwork shop, and we do some furniture as well. So at that shop, I'm their CNC tech and operator, as well as laser cutter technician. So I'm on the tools building, but I'm also getting some good drafting experience. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. I'll probably go in and do my 3rd and 4th year once I've got some more hours in the bank, like the ITA bank, and do them back to back, and then write my Red Seal exam. So I'm going for my full Red Seal.
Nice. And how do So you said you were working on architectural stuff. Like how, if we were going to describe to kids, where does your career, or where do they see your trade around them on a daily basis? Where would you point out to them?
Their kitchen. So we built their kitchens. We've built, desks, chairs. When you go to any store, when you go up to the desk to pay, we built, that desk. The baseboards in their house. Yeah, joinery is everywhere, and it's a key part of all buildings because it hides electrical and plumbing, and yeah, any sort of shelves that they see, stairs. Yeah, that's all joinery, and that's what my career is. Yeah.
Yeah, you're everywhere.
Yeah.
It's so fun to ask that question to different tradespeople, because sometimes it's all hidden. Like the electrical one, the light turns on, but the rest of it's quite hidden away, so it might not be as obvious where they were and what evidence of their being there was.
Yeah.
So the things that you build, do they get taken away and assembled elsewhere? You're part of just cutting out the pieces, or do you do the installations and stuff too? How does that all work?
Yeah, so we construct everything in-house and build it there, and then we will ship it off in a shipping container. If it's local, we'll do the install. So for instance, right now we're working on a school, so we're doing all of the cabinets that will be required in a school, but we're shipping it to Calgary. So we're going to hire installers in Calgary to install it. So installing is a career on its own, kind of within the trade.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be so cool to go and do a presentation in the school with the ones that you made and teach the kids. Yeah, that would be really cool.
Well, it is a preschool that we're doing, so maybe it's a bit premature, but yeah.
You never know. Well, some of these, that's one thing that I've been trying to do is what kind of projects can we, like resources can we provide to kindergarten teachers that would get little ones using tools, I guess. Yeah. That's still in my mind. If anybody has some good suggestions, if there's any kindergarten teachers out there that have some ideas, feel free to email me. I have my email at the end of the project or the presentation here. Okay, another question for you. What is one piece of advice, now that you know what you know with your career now, but if you could go back in time, that you would tell yourself as a teenager, and or a piece of advice that you would tell a teenager who was thinking, oh, maybe joinery is something I'd be interested in? What would you say?
I think like a general piece of advice would be to take the pressure off of making mistakes. Like everything that I've learned, and the reason why I've been learning so fast is because I've been making so many mistakes like every day, and there's so much power in learning how to fix your mistakes because they're inevitable, they're going to happen. And there's kind of this saying in joinery that like you're as good as how you can fix your mistakes or something like that, because they just happen. It's like breathing. And I've learned so much about, even like life, like mistakes are inevitable, and just knowing that everything is fixable is really, I wish I had known that earlier. And then in terms of like pursuing a career in trades or joinery or carpentry, is to just try it and, try to eliminate the fear aspect of it. Anything that sparks your interest, just give it like a solid go. And whether that's a couple of months or a year or one single class. And if it sticks, it sticks. And if it doesn't, just keep searching and exploring. And yeah, that's what I would say.
You mentioned earlier that you were one day thinking about being a shop teacher, and I think that just those 2 points that you just made are so key for teachers. And it's just so like trying to get across to students that it's okay to make mistakes is so important. So I love that you're obviously succeeding at something and totally willing to show that those mistakes are how you got there. That's really powerful.
Can I interject there for a second?
Please do.
Oh, Shayla, if you want a job as a shop teacher, I'm telling you right now, I was on the executive. I know exactly how many shop teachers are out there. You'll get a job. It's like
Really?
no brainer.
Whoa. I still think I have a lot to learn and I want to get my full red
Yeah.
seal, but I want to be a shop teacher so bad. I think it would be so fun. And yeah, shop art
You
teacher.
gotta like kids though. That's the only
I
thing.
do.
One stipulation. Good. That's okay. That's a bonus.
Yeah, I think it would be great.
One, we were chatting, or you and Colleen were chatting earlier, and there was something about a tape measure there, and the way that you were taught to use a tape measure wasn't the most successful way, but could have been taught. And I would just love for you to be able to come full circle in your life and be able to develop some amazing resources on how to use tape measures, because that is just such a tricky thing, and I'm sure you're awesome at it now. But
yeah, it's like, and I can convert imperial to metric so easily, but that instance you were talking about, my grade 6 shop teacher got so frustrated with me because I just couldn't understand 16ths and 8ths. I was like, what, this is weird. This is dumb. But and then he got frustrated, took it away from me, like did it himself, gave it back to me. So I didn't learn anything in that instance. And it's been the last couple of years where it has become like just as easy as breathing. But I definitely have developed some skills and actually like broke things up to understand it a bit better physically so I could see it. I would love to share how I learned how to use a tape measure, because it seems like it feels like something you should just know how to do, but that's not the case. Like it's actually quite confusing at first, especially with imperial to metric
and fractions.
Fractions are so hard.
Everyone I chat with is always like, fractions. And I think, no, there's good ways. There's easy ways to teach this.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to collaborate with you as teacher to teacher one day. I just know it. I'm excited for you. You put together some photos for us about some of the tools that you've been using on the job, and I'm super curious to have you talk about some of those. So Colleen, can we have a little look at some of Shayla's tools? And I know I've switched the order up a little bit for you, but I can, go for it.
Oh, okay.
Tell us about your stuff.
There are not so many like hand tool pictures that I included, but as a CNC operator, I use this program called Mosaic all the time. It's a drafting software. So architectural drawings converted to shop drawings, and I use them every single day. It's a huge tool to learn how to like actually use the computer, and be able to pull off key measurements from that. So that's just kind of an example of something I might be looking at.
Cool.
So yeah, you can keep clicking. Okay, there's like several tools in here. This is an example of an install of a kitchen that I was doing this summer. I didn't have a picture of it finished, but there's some drills and drivers, a broom. You always have to clean up your mess. So a vacuum and a broom are really important on site, especially. I think you can see some quick grips in there. They're really handy to clamp things together in a pinch. There's a radio in there, some levels. I think there's a screw box. I see some glue. Yeah, that's kind of it for that. Tape. Oh, and cardboard to protect the flooring. And they're not necessarily tools you really think about, but when you're building, you have to protect the surroundings and the product itself. So these are my 3 most important tools I use every single day: my steel-toed shoes, my safety glasses, and then I have custom hearing protection, which is really, really, really important. And even though they're not hand tools, you won't be able to use your hand tools if you're like injured or, so honestly, you're the most important tool that you have. And if you're, missing your eyes or you can't hear anything, or, your foot's broken, it's just not gonna, it's not gonna go well for you. So
I love that. You're the most important tool. I love that. I'm going to use that. You on that.
Yeah. And I think it's important to like, there are some options for, sometimes PPE just seems so boring and you have to bedazzle it yourself. But like I was able to get hot pink ear protection, and then, there's some options for more fashionable PPE and workwear out there. So yeah, it's a tool. PPE is really important.
Totally.
Yeah. So this is the CNC that I operate and the computer software. It's my favorite tool, and it's the tool I used it for 8 hours today. You can do anything from 4x8 sheets of like plywood, MDF, anything, to really, really small pieces. I actually have a thing I did. I'm building it for my dad. So I CNC'd out the letters, and then I inlaid them with a different type of wood. So you can do really, really intricate things with this tool, or you can build cabinets with it. Or you can do like 3D sculptures. It's my favorite tool.
I think you and Steve would have a lot to chat about.
Oh,
I know he's a big fan.
I'm looking at that going, you and I would have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I love these machines. I got one in every school in our district.
Oh, amazing. That's sweet. Yeah. Okay, this was my year 2 at project at BCIT. So if anybody listening to this does want to pursue a career in joinery, this is an example of what we do at school. This was the final project. It's a cabinet. So it's a solid birch cabinet. We learned how to do the sliding drawer, the door, hardware. Yeah, just I thought I'd throw that in there just in case.
Yeah, that's really cool. Did you get to keep it? Do you have it at your place? No.
I didn't want it, so they donated it.
That's nice. That's nice.
Yeah. But part of the reason why I got into the trade as well actually is for sustainable construction. So every time we get a flat of materials delivered to our shop, I save the dunnage wood that it comes on, and I build tables out of it and give them to my friends.
That's amazing. This is one of them here?
Yeah. So it's garbage that I built it out of. And I just use some pretty basic joinery techniques and basic hardware so that my friends can like take it apart with just their hands. Really, they don't need any tools. So this flat packs down and can go in the back of a car, and then they can put it together pretty easily. So
amazing. Yeah. That's really cool. I love that.
So I guess, and then 2 tools that I use to do that are super important are the joiner and the planer. And then I just cut things to size, glue them together, and do all the joinery on the table saw. So yeah. So I also have my own small woodworking business that I do on the side. And these are some of the products that I make, using the bandsaw for the wavy checkerboard that's done on the bandsaw. And then the other 2 I did on the CNC and used a hand router to profile them.
They're gorgeous. What kind of wood is on the right there?
Oh, that's a spalted curly maple.
Very cool. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
It's so nice. It looks magical. It's actually right here.
Yes.
It like
gorgeous.
You see how it has all that figuring in it?
Yeah, it's like a hologram.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Gorgeous. And so that's a side gig that you love woodworking so much, you're doing it on the side as well.
Yeah, I go into work like 2 hours early to do it. But yeah, lately I've gotten really into inlaying wood inside of wood. So this is maple and sapelli.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, chisels are huge. Sometimes the CNC. Sometimes, okay, I can't blame the CNC. For this project, I got my tolerances wrong. So that was a huge learning curve for me to really dial in what tolerances you need to inlay. So this one I had to hand carve to get the letters.
Wow. That's so intricate. That's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, sharp chisels are really important. Yeah, I'll end on that.
Well, thank you. Thanks for leading us through this. I just want to keep chatting to you, and I know I have other things I need to talk about, but thank you so much for presenting with us, and feel free to stay on and jump in at any point while I'm chit-chatting about the tools, because I know a few of the ones that you pointed out in your kitchen install there I'm going to be talking about in a little bit. So thank you. And thank you for helping us inspire youth.
No problem. Anytime.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen here and show people what I've been up to for the last couple of weeks since the last webinar. Let's see, where am I at? I would like to show you back to the Skills Ready website and talk about these tools tutorials that I've been adding. So these are the latest 4 tools that I've uploaded. Maybe I'll start with the cordless drill to show you here. So essentially, one of the biggest reasons that I wanted to do these tool tutorials is because of the elementary and middle school teachers who are tasked with teaching their ADST, this applied design skills and technology. And I was able to watch one of Randy's workshops with some of the student teachers at VIU, and I was shocked at how many of these elementary school teachers had not even looked at the curriculum and even knew what ADST was. And here we were showing them, this is what you get to teach. You get to teach how to use tools and stuff. So part of what I was thinking was, oh, all these other projects that we've been uploading, we don't tell people how to use these common tools. So here you are, it's like a glossary, and teachers who aren't familiar with them can look through and learn, and they can also use these as a teaching resource. So I had a little introduction to cordless drill, and we've got the trades careers down there too. Glazers use these, carpenters, cabinet makers, and even electricians and plumbers and marine service techs. I could go on and on. That could be a really long list. This is a really common tool. When I do all of the interviews with the tradespeople, this is always on their list. So one other cool thing I want to point out in the introduction here is for teachers that are busy teaching ADST and might want to teach in a sort of design challenge way. It's really fun to introduce kids to a whole bunch of new tools and then send them on a design challenge. So if you want to learn more about how to do design challenges with kids, we've got these resources. One's called Taking Making into Classrooms, and it's pretty dense, but it's absolutely wonderful, and it leads you all through how to actually take these new skills and challenge the students into making really, really cool products. So using empathy, thinking about the final users of the product, and then every kid's project will look so different, as opposed to sort of all making the exact same project that looks exactly the same. They're actually designing these things and thinking about the end users. Anyway, I get really excited about that. So each of these tools tutorials kind of start off with the tools and the materials list, got some safety gear in there, and all the things that you need to collect, a class set of them if you need to, or if it's just you working with a couple of students, you'll only need a couple of them. But I've gone through and written some steps on what the cordless drills are used for, some safety considerations in there, how to set up the cordless drill, including a bunch of these GIFs, which Colleen has been so helpful in making sure the website works with them. I know I'm adding tons and tons and tons of stuff, but I thought it was just really cool that we could use GIFs to show exactly what it's like putting bits on. It's really nice that you don't have to necessarily go and ask someone to show you all these things if you've got these GIFs right here. It's a good starting point for that kind of stuff, and you don't have to go all over the internet to find it. Anyway, so here's me drilling holes and driving screws, and I had a lot of fun making these ones. This was kind of the most complex ones. I've got environmental considerations on here because that's part of the BC curriculum. The students have to make sort of justify their tool use and the decisions about which tools they're going to use. And part of that is sort of an environmental consideration. And then under extension challenges, you'll find different ways to practice using your new tools. So I might include like a link to one of our other projects that uses those tools, or little design challenges that they might be able to use them in. And I've just linked them all, related projects. I don't know if that'll show up on the new website, Colleen, the related project at the end. I hope so. That'd be awesome. But here are a couple of the other tools that I've added. This beautiful speed square, probably one of the safest tools I've ever experimented with. But you can see it's the same format, and you can go through and explore them all. But this is what I've been up to. Oh, one of them's not working. Anyway, yeah, I don't know if anyone's got questions on these things. One thing I would like to know is if you have any suggestions of other tools that you would like to see up here. I'm happy to make more. We've got the tape measure, multimeter, speed square, and drill at the moment. And I'm just working on handsaw one, and clamps and hammer, soldering iron, and a hot glue gun. But beyond that, if you have suggestions, I'm open to that. I feel like this one, the multimeter, is going to be very, very useful when it comes to doing some of the electrical projects that I uploaded a while back, because you got to test for continuity, you got to test the voltages on your batteries. Thank you, Steve. I did look through a bunch of your resources as I was developing this one, so I tried not to plagiarize it, but I really loved the video. You had a video of continuity testing of your LED projects.
Don't worry about it. Plagiarize it all. None of it's mine anyways. I plagiarize somebody else.
Well, it was great. I really enjoyed them. And anyway, hopefully, if anybody wants to read through and sees anything that they're like, I would have done that, or added this or added that to it, I'm open to suggestions. But here's me testing a little LED. Putting the little LED in the shade so that it would show that it was lighting up. Anyway, I'm pretty excited about these ones. What do I want to say next? Oh, so once we're done all of these tools tutorials, the next big projects that I want to add are our design challenges, so that teachers can, or instructors, parents, whoever's working with kids themselves, teenagers, anyone interested in working with tools can come to the project's website here and check out the design challenges. So they'll be based on the BC curriculum, based on using the tools that we've introduced here. And then, just like you were saying before, Shayla, sometimes it's cardboard and tape and things that you know how to use. And I really want kids to be able to use what they know and widen their tool repertoire so that they can build these really cool things. And so that's what I'm hoping to have uploaded for next month, to go over the March webinar with some design stuff.